The Lost Cheese of Space. Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, there was a farm unlike any other. This farm was home to a group of animals who weren't just ordinary animals. They were incredibly clever and had big dreams of exploring the stars. The leader of this adventurous crew was Captain Benny the Rabbit, who had always dreamed of finding the tastiest cheese in the universe. One morning, a loud buzzing sound echoed from the barn. The animals looked around. It was the sound of Captain Benny's spaceship. Benny, with his fluffy ears standing tall, stood proudly in front of the spaceship and shouted,
"Friends, today is the day. We're going to space."
Before they could venture into the great unknown, Benny needed a team. He first called upon Professor Oliver the Owl, the smartest and wisest of them all.
"Oliver, I need your knowledge to make this journey possible.
Will you join the crew?" Oliver replied calmly,
"Of course, but patience will be required for this journey, Benny."
"Patience? We don't need patience. We need adventure."
Benny replied eagerly. Next, Benny found Rocky the Raccoon, the farm's expert mechanic. Rocky was always tinkering with old machines, and his tools were always in his paws.
"Rocky, you're in charge of the spaceship's engine. If anything breaks, you're the one to fix it."
Rocky wiped his paws on his overalls.
"Sure, but if the ship breaks down, don't come running to me."
Finally, Benny approached Polly the Parrot, the chatterbox who would be in charge of communications. Polly was known for talking to anyone, anywhere, anytime, and she never needed a reason.
"Polly, you're with us. But promise me one thing, no touching any buttons on the ship."
Polly flapped her wings and laughed.
"Me touch buttons? Never!"
And so the crew was complete. Captain Benny the Rabbit, Professor Oliver the Owl, Rocky the Raccoon, and Polly the Parrot. After 3 days of intense preparations, the moment arrived. The crew climbed aboard the spaceship, which they had named Cheddar 5. Engines roared to life, and the countdown began. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. The ship zoomed into the sky, piercing through the clouds and into the vastness of space. Everyone was filled with excitement, except for Polly, who couldn't resist pressing a button on her seat.
"What does this button do? And this one? Ew, and a shiny one."
"Polly, I told you, no touching."
Benny shouted, but it was too late. Polly had already pressed a button, and the ship jolted.
"Oh?"
Shouted Rocky, rushing to the engine room.
"I think the engine just went into hyperdrive."
"Polly, this is your fault."
Benny exclaimed, pacing around the ship.
"Me? I'm just testing things."
Polly chirped innocently. Professor Oliver looked out the window at the stars.
"Calm down, Benny. A little turbulence won't stop us. It's just a start. Every great adventure has its bumps."
"Easy for you to say. Oliver?"
Benny mumbled. After hours of travel, the ship's sensors began beeping. The screen flashed with a message, "Cheese source detected."
"This is it. We're about to find the greatest cheese in the galaxy."
Benny exclaimed, his eyes sparkling. Oliver, ever the realist, replied,
"Don't get too excited. We still don't know what we'll find."
The ship followed the signal to a planet that smelled like cheese. The surface was yellow with holes in it, just like Swiss cheese. But as they got closer, a strange energy beam pulled the ship toward it, and the crew found themselves landing in the middle of a massive space station. The hatch opened, and they were greeted by a giant badger wearing a space suit.
"I am Captain Gruyère. Why have you come here?"
Gruyère asked in a deep voice.
"We came to find the greatest cheese in the galaxy."
Benny declared confidently. Gruyère chuckled.
"Well, you've come to the right place. But to earn our cheese, you must first complete a task."
Gruyère led them to a large cheese-making factory. The animals watched as skilled badgers mixed, stirred, and aged the finest cheeses.
If you want to learn the secret of cheese making, you must first learn the most important lesson. Cheese is made with patience and teamwork.
Benny tapped his foot impatiently.
"Teamwork, patience? But we're here for cheese, not a lecture."
Rocky whispered to Polly.
You'd better stop pressing buttons, or we'll be stuck here forever.
Polly, wide-eyed, nodded.
I'm done with buttons. I promise.
As they worked together, Benny learned the value of patience. Oliver shared his wisdom, and Polly and Rocky learned to trust one another. Slowly, they made their own batch of cheese, a cheese unlike anything they'd ever tasted. Gruyère tasted the cheese and smiled.
Now you understand. Cheese is made with more than just ingredients. It's made with love and patience. And that is the true secret.
The crew returned to their farm carrying their freshly made cheese. They threw a grand cheese party inviting all the farm animals. Benny, now wiser and more patient, realized that the real treasure wasn't just the cheese, but the friends he had made along the way.
Next time, no buttons, right, Polly?
Benny said with a wink. Polly squawked, "Next time."
Time. I'll keep my wings to myself.
And so, the crew of the Cheddar Five discovered the greatest treasure of all, not the cheese itself, but the bonds they formed along the way.